What's up, meta nerds? This video will pull from every resource available to completely understand the TIE Hunter. During the height of the Galactic Civil War, Imperial engineers introduced the TIE HU, or Hunter, as a multi-role starfighter to be the answer to the growing Rebel threat. The Rebel Alliance's T-65B X-Wing had proven itself a formidable all-purpose fighter, outpacing the Empire's mass-produced TIE fighters, and proving that their swarm tactics weren't as reliable. In response, Sinar Fleet Systems, the Empire's primary TIE manufacturer, began developing the TIE HU as a countermeasure. This new TIE variant was conceived shortly before the Battle of Yavin, with development accelerating urgently after the loss of the Death Star. Some in leadership may have even been thinking of the old TIE Defender project, seeing that might really have been a better option than a single space station. Data from countless skirmishes with Rebel fighters was analyzed to guide the Hunter's design, and by decree of the Imperial Admiralty, the TIE Hunters were assigned exclusively to elite Storm Commandos, Special Forces TIE pilots handpicked for high-risk operations. Though we should note that prototype Hunters were even field-tested by ace pilots like Suntir Fel prior to their general deployment. In an early demonstration of their unconventional use, Storm Commando Crix Medine once hid his TIE Hunters underwater in a planetary reservoir, keeping them down there for nearly a week to avoid detection, and then launched them without issue. Most spacefaring vessels would also be waterproof, but this is a tactic that's almost never actually used. And being able to keep them down there for a week shows the robustness of the Hunter itself, but of course also the ingenuity of these Spec Ops Storm Commandos. But despite promising performance, production of the TIE Hunter lagged behind schedule and never reached the mass production levels of other TIE models. Each Hunter was complex and costly compared to the standard TIE, but this extra cost was just another factor leading to their limited numbers. They officially entered service around 3 ABY, right after the Battle of Hoth, by which time the Galactic Empire was desperately seeking technological edges to turn the tide of war. And so the Hunter emerged from a period of intense technological arms race between the Rebels and their allies, and this tension within Imperial leadership to just build a second Death Star, or invest in more expensive TIE fighter lines. At a glance, the TIE Hunter looks like a hybrid of Imperial and Rebel design philosophies. It retains the iconic ball-shaped cockpit and dual twin-ion engines of the TIE series, but its wing configuration is really different. In fact, the Hunter's solar array wings are arranged roughly as a mirror image to the TIE Interceptors. Where the Interceptor has the dagger-like wings bend inward, the Hunter's wing panels invert that geometry. And uniquely, the TIE HU incorporates folding S-foils similar to those on an X-Wing. The Hunter's pair of wing panels stay folded or closed during normal flight, and spread open into attack position when in combat stance. This feature was adopted explicitly because the craft was designed to emulate and counter the X-Wing's capabilities, though it doesn't exactly show great imagination. And when the Hunter's S-foils are closed for cruising, its weapons are effectively safetied and cannot be fired, which was a known limitation, requiring pilots to time their attack runs carefully. But we do see that the Hunter is one of the few Imperial fighters of this era equipped with both a deflector shield generator and a hyperdrive. Another way it's trying to keep up with the X-Wing, and it's able to join the ranks of the TIE Defender. These additions gave it endurance and independence compared to most Rebel fighters, and a stark departure from the unshielded, short-range TIE LN and even TIE Interceptor models. With its advanced ion engines and lightweight design, the Hunter was reputed to be the fastest TIE variant in the Imperial fleet during the war. Specifically, it's said that pilots reported its acceleration and agility could outstrip the speedy TIE Interceptor, especially with the S-foils locked closed for pursuits. To me, that means it's faster than the Interceptor, but this is probably coming out before the TIE Defender stats were known, because once the Defender gets referenced, it is by far the fastest. It is a single-seat starfighter, not with that internal seating capacity of the TIE Avenger, and is more similar to other general-sized TIE models. And though the exact dimensions were never officially leaked, Imperial records remain classified on this point. Its proportions fall in the same class as its peers, which can be inferred from hangar bay footage and other schematics, and it seems to fall between the Interceptor and X-Wing in length and wingspan, so probably closest to the TIE Defender. Where the Interceptor measures about 7.7 meters or 25.3 feet long, the Defender was about 9.2 meters or 30 feet, and the X-Wing extends to around 12.5 meters or 41 feet, so it's funny it's about a Wookiee difference between each of these. The Interceptor was 6.5 meters or 21 feet wide, while the Defender was 10 meters or 32 feet, and the X-Wing has a wingspan of approximately 11 meters or 36 feet. So when you're thinking width, don't think TIE fighter, it's actually closer to the X-Wing. As for height, the Interceptor stands 5.3 meters or 17 feet, the Defender is the tallest by far at 8.7 meters or 28 feet, and the X-Wing is around 4 meters or 14 feet. Here it's going to be closest to the Interceptor. In terms of weight and support systems, the Hunter was a step up from the minimalist TIE fighters and carried consumables for up to 2 days, though of course those commandos found ways to stretch it up to a week, in order to support their longer missions. Its Class 1 hyperdrive would make it the fastest of all the TIE models, and was necessary so that it could self-deploy across star systems more stealthily than arriving with an entire carrier and fleet. And so it's trying to fill this gap between the TIE Interceptor and these way more advanced TIE Avengers and TIE Defenders. But what truly defines the TIE Hunter, why it gets that Hunter name, is its diverse armament loadout, which was unprecedented for Imperial fighters at that time. The Hunter mounts a combination of laser cannons, ion cannons, and projectile launchers, earning its multi-role designation, while its primary guns are twin medium laser cannons, supplemented by a pair of ion cannons, which are all forward-fixed. This pairing allows a Hunter pilot to both dogfight with lethal lasers and disable enemy craft or shields with ion blasts. This capability, while also seen on the TIE Defender, is something that the X-Wing and no other TIE can do. And on the underside of the Hunter's cockpit, it houses a proton torpedo launcher carrying up to 12 torpedoes, a payload that is comparable to that of a dedicated bomber. While we saw the Defender had some capability in this area, the Hunter's torpedo magazine rivals the capacity of the Rebels' Y-Wing, which was far slower and less versatile on attack and defense. In essence, the TIE HU packs a hitting power of a starfighter and a strike bomber into one platform. And I always make sure to stress that ion weaponry was increasingly important to the Empire in this era of a growing Rebel alliance, where capturing intel is more important than just blowing them up with their ship. Ion weapons allow you to disable things and take their crew alive. It did have some limitations. Despite its formidable armory, having only 2 laser cannons meant that in straight firepower, it only had half the laser barrels of an X-Wing or TIE Interceptor, which could be a disadvantage in close dogfights where overwhelming laser volleys matter. The Hunter's torpedo launcher provided great punch, but torpedoes are finite, and once the 12 munitions were expended, there was often no way to be resupplied during their mission, with the whole point of these being that they're used for Spec Ops missions. And like mentioned before, when those S-foils are closed in high-speed flight mode, all weapons are offline. This means a Hunter pilot caught off guard at cruising speed would need a critical extra moment to deploy wings and power up weapons, a quirk that an agile opponent could exploit. And its advanced systems like shields, hyperdrive, and multiple weapon types made it mechanically complex and expensive. And while some estimates have a price of 100,000 credits, it's also mentioned that some cost 275,000 credits, and that makes more sense for the fully outfitted model I've been talking about, with the laser cannons, ion weapons, torpedoes, hyperdrive, and shield generator. 100,000 is simply too cheap for this, when a TIE fighter was only 60k and a TIE Interceptor 75k. That 275,000 credit price tag is just below the TIE Defender, which makes sense to me. And so this expense, coupled with longer manufacturing time, limited how many could be fielded and maintained by frontline units. And so while there's a healthy debate if this is better than the TIE Avenger, most agree that the TIE Defender was still superior, even if you think that's a bit unfair as it's effectively playing an assault gunship role among other fighters. Let me know what you think down in the comments. All 3 of these next-gen TIEs gave the Emperor the flexibility that was exactly what the Empire needed to surprise Rebel forces who were accustomed to more one-dimensional TIE fighters, which could be blown to bits in a single shot. It's the versatility that made them especially suited for the Storm Commandos, who often overtook covert and independent missions without support from dedicated bomber wings or capital ships. In practice, Imperial Commandos deployed TIE Hunters for elite strike missions and rapid response engagements, like securing assets or VIPs, where a variety of threats might be encountered. And there are a ton of examples where Storm Commando teams with Hunters infiltrated a Rebel base, engaged enemy fighters in the air, and also destroy ground installations or starship hangars if the opportunity arose, all in just a few minutes before popping into hyperspace and disappearing. And so it excelled in roles requiring stealth and surprise. One documented use in Imperial records was Darkblade Squadron, led by ace pilot Tam Blackstar, which included 1 Hunter alongside TIE Interceptors. In 3 ABY, Blackstar's unit sprung a surprise attack on a Rebel outpost on Arda 1. In that engagement, Blackstar's Hunter proved its mettle by chasing a Rebel RZ-1 A-Wing, following it through a twisting canyon nicknamed the Gauntlet, and nearly taking it down with a pair of torpedoes. This kind of high-speed pursuit and precision strike demonstrated how a Hunter could perform tasks ordinarily needing multiple ship types, like the Interceptor's speed and the bomber's heavy ordnance. And we see Imperial tacticians praising it in the Imperial Handbook for being able to achieve space superiority and perform attack runs in a single platform. Later in the war, Alliance forces managed to capture several TIE Hunters, And in one bold operation before the Battle of Endor, Wedge Antilles led Rogue Squadron on a mission to infiltrate the Imperial shipyards at Fondor.
Incoming ships, identify yourselves. We're delivering a captured rebel transport. Requesting permission to dock.
Disguising themselves in stolen TIE hunters, Rogue Squadron pilots slipped past Imperial defenses and executed a surprise attack on an unfinished Executor-class Superstar Destroyer. The rebel operatives launched torpedoes from the borrowed hunters, contributing to the destruction of the massive warship in dry dock. This feat highlighted the hunters' value. An elite rebel squad could use them to fly covertly into Imperial territory, using that IFF to appear as friendly blips on sensors, and still pack enough firepower to cripple a Super Star Destroyer, at least while it's being built. With the Empire's collapse after Endor, it meant that the TIE Hunter never saw the widespread deployment its creators intended. Only small pockets of Imperial remnant retained any hunters, and their legacy largely merged with the Empire's other advanced TIE projects in obscurity. In the New Republic era, there's been no confirmed sighting of a TIE Hunter, though the TIE Defender, thanks to Grand Admiral Thrawn's initiative, filled the role of the ultimate Imperial fighter, leaving the Hunter as an intriguing what-if of Imperial R&D. Though it is interesting to see how Palpatine's intuition is so strong. At least in some ways. I guess you can never really win if the Force isn't on your side, but all of these advanced TIE variants, the Avenger, Defender, and Hunter, at times fell into the hands of rebel elements, either the outright Rebel Alliance or Imperials that defected, and they quickly showed an outsized effect when used against the Empire. Palpatine's concern was that spreading these all across the galaxy might end up strengthening his opponents, or if he could just make sure that the leadership on the Death Star stayed loyal, that's fewer individuals that you have to trust. Keeping a single Death Star secure seemed far more plausible than trying to make sure that your starfighters didn't fall into enemy hands. And it should be pointed out that this entire TIE fighter movement was spawned on by the glorious T-65B X-Wing, and how expertly it was used by rebel pilots. A perfectly poetic insult to Imperial doctrine, which saw their pilots as expendable, barely above a droid, and thought that they could solve this problem by just throwing credits at it, having an enormous military-industrial complex pumping out never-ending swarms of cheap TIEs. The rebel efforts forced them to change this doctrine. That's it for its breakdown, and as for behind-the-scenes facts, it first appeared in the 2003 video game Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike, and it was expanded on in the 2014 Age of Rebellion role-playing game sourcebook Stay on Target, and is one of the few TIE models that has not come back into the new canon. Please hit that like button. I really do need your help. But most important of all, remember, if the Force turns against you, then you'll never make the right decision, and the Force will be with you. Always.